Welcome to the Nerd Party.
I'm Darren Moser.
I'm Phillip Gilfus.
I'm Daniel Prue.
And this is City Alpha 3. Hello, and welcome to City Alpha 3, a Star Trek podcast. I'm Darren Moser, along with my fellow dreamers, Phillip Gilfus and Daniel Prue. Now, today we're going to be continuing our jaunt through the Star Trek movies and figuring out the after-credit sequences, starting with the next-gen movies. Now, if you remember, we had gone through parts 1 through 6. We talked a lot about part 1, which is only fitting because it's a very long movie.
And everybody fell asleep during that discussion, but that's okay.
Well,
but
yes.
The director's cut of that discussion, everyone is a fan of.
That's true. They're going to just keep releasing it and releasing it and releasing it. But then we moved on, and I think we really hit our stride where we had General Insert Name here.
Chang,
yes. We had General Chang as the puppet master pulling strings with Admiral Cartwright leading up to the big reveal in Episode 6, The Undiscovered Country.
I'm uncomfortable with you calling it Episode 6. I'm just going to say that up front.
Force of habit.
Sorry.
Oh.
Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. Is that better?
That's the one
Phillip?
before Star
Yes.
Trek VII Generations, right?
Yeah, that is true.
God.
That is true. Yes, we've also talked about how we hate Roman numerals. So, yes. So, but first, before we jump into this, how has your weeks been? Any new Trek? I mean, we're really close to Discovery. Not that we have to always talk about it at the beginning of our episodes, but have you purchased your All Access yet?
Well, I did get my Discovery T-shirt in the mail. I know that sounds like a joke, but I'm serious. And so that's sort of my new pajama wear. It isn't very good, well made, but it is kind of cool looking. It actually photographed well. But now I'm sort of like warp 5ing it through Enterprise because I'm in season 3, so that means I got like a season to go, or season and a quarter to go. And so I'm sort of just like going as fast as I can here, and it's kind of fun because but it's kind of fun because my wife's watching it with me, and so it's interesting to see her reactions to things. So it's I'm trying to get to the 22nd century, so I am then able to welcome the newest chapter in 23rd century.
So I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but and I just read the headline, so naturally I am very ready and prepared to talk about what I learned. But no, it appears that in an interview, somebody had mentioned that as Discovery goes on, they're going to make a push to make it more and more TOS-esque.
I did read that. Yeah, that the stylings and the colors are going to slowly shift towards TOS, what we know from Kirk's time, which could be cool. Although it's kind of funny that they have to say that up front because, you know, I mean, that would we would naturally discover that anyway. But it's like the show's not even out.
Do we know? I mean, I know like it's a general like 10-year period. Do we know specifically like the star date that this? Because the Enterprise is already in commission at this point, right? It's out there, and
I don't think we have a star date. Just 10 years before Kirk, I think, is what they've been saying.
So it's just a general kind of a thing.
Yeah. I thought I saw a headline that said like this is the year, but it wasn't necessarily a reputable.
Like they're not going to run into the Enterprise, and Kirk's not going to be at the helm. You know, just
well, Kirk isn't captain of the Enterprise, of course.
That's what I'm saying.
Is he going to be on the? It's 10 years before.
The Farragut? Or wait, he might still be in the Academy for all I know. I don't know.
No, because he spent some years on that planet as well, right? From that one episode. I guess my forgetfulness.
City Alpha 5?
No.
Oh, no, I know what you're talking about. Kind of the prime directive breaking planet, like with the sort of...
Anyways, I feel like there's enough service. Like
savages,
Kirk would still be in the service. Anyways, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, Ensign Kirk, Lieutenant Kirk, something like that.
I'm curious.
Now, if they say that they're shifting uniforms and such, are they going to like shift to the cage and then shift to TOS?
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah. but yeah, which they probably want to do because it's such a plain looking uniform. I mean, I'm sure you could jazz it up somehow, but
it'll be again. They chose this, man. They
Canon
chose
locked.
this time period. So good luck to them. I guess that's all I'll say.
That's true. It's interesting how, well, did they choose it or did Brian Fuller choose it?
Oh well, I mean, they as in CBS. I don't know who you want to pin it on.
Well, they as in whoever.
Even Brian Fuller, if he was still here, I don't think could have made.
Well, he's not dead.
rest
God
in peace, Brian
rest.
Fuller. Even
just dead to Star
even
Trek.
if you were there, even if it was his decision or oh God, what's his name? The other guy that worked on the movies.
Oh,
Kurtzman. Yeah, if it was his decision, it doesn't matter. It still
yeah.
seems. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I guess is what we'll say.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, we're looking forward to it.
All right. Well, jumping in to episode Generations. I guess that's not really episode Generations.
Stop saying episode.
Star Trek Generations. So we've had our
Start
first
using
look.
colons.
Okay, call it. We've had our look at the Enterprise D. It's been destroyed. Picard has buried Kirk's body, so there's no evidence.
Allegedly.
Data is crying over Spot, and we end with Picard in his normal TNG uniform and Riker in the DS9 uniform in the ruined bridge, lit only by the skylight, and they beam up and warp out on a couple of ships. Pretty much all. I think it's like a Miranda, a Nebula, and a Obrith.
Okay. Yes, I can't remember. Constellation class, something like that. But yeah.
Something like that. But yeah, so they warp out.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but I mean, besides the whole warping out, is pretty much the last shot is them, having that, Riker says, I always thought I'd have a chance at this chair, the man who never sits down. And Picard, they say plenty of letters left in the alphabet. And then they beam away. So, what are we going to do for our after credit? Are we going to try to set up another multi-part build towards something, or just keep it kind of one-offs? I don't think the next gen movies kind of lend themselves to a sequence.
So,
well, go ahead.
Okay, so I know the easy answer here is going to be the Borg.
Right.
It's going to be the Borg.
That would be the
so
easy
I'm
answer.
going to flip it. And I'm going to say, let's not go for the easy one this time. I want to see the Nexus hit somebody interesting that we would not expect. Now, I don't know who it would be. I was thinking Q, but I don't really think that would make any sort of sense. Although he could be a funny cameo. But there should be a character out there. Or somebody
in Star Trek,
that had,
Next Generation,
yeah,
preferably.
Or somebody that had already been hit by the Nexus, interacting with somebody else that they normally wouldn't have interacted with.
Well, I mean, this is obviously wouldn't really happen. It's not silly, but it's just non-canon one. If there could be like, I don't know. I'm just doing off the top of my head. It's probably not going to be good here, but like maybe some outpost, is like. We're detecting the Nexus ribbon. It's leaving the Verdian system. Okay, let's see. It's charting its course. Well, looks like the only thing it's coming close to is the Bajoran system. And then you just see a graphic of Deep Space Nine.
I don't know though. Yeah, that would unless you had an episode in Deep Space Nine with the Nexus.
Yeah, I know. But
so all our after credit scenes are from Deep Space Nine, so we get them on the big screen somehow. They don't get a movie; they just get the after credit.
And we could screenshot that shot of DS9 because, man, it would just pop out at you.
So first of all, Phillip, you mentioned at first that it was a kind of a silly idea. But here's the thing. Some of the after credit scenes, and we talked last episode about this kind of being modeled after the Marvel, this modern sort of after credit sequence. And some of those are just silly for silly's sake. They're just fun that you just wouldn't
like
normally...
the shawarma scene.
Like the shawarma scene, right, yeah. And so... I think that's a good idea. I also kind of really like the idea of creating a Nexus early Deep Space Nine episode. That would be a lot of fun. Although that we couldn't do that now. That's not the point of what we're doing here. But if we wanted to tease a fictional Nexus early Deep Space Nine episode, that would be an interesting way to do it. And I like that idea.
The only other direction I could think of, but of course, again, it's somewhat unrealistic, is that it would have to be some commentary, in the general sense of the word, of Kirk's death. So in other words, you'd have a Spock or a McCoy or a something like that, sort of reacting to that news or something, maybe.
Like Picard goes
to,
or Picard goes to Spock's quarters or wherever he's stationed on Vulcan or whatever, and he's doing unification at this point. Technically, he's on Romulus.
Yeah, so he could hear it on Romulus or something.
Well, or we could take the post-credit sequence in a different direction. Although I would argue this should have been part of the actual movie and not post-credits. But you could have a Kirk funeral scene.
Oh, that would be like a Kirk memorial somewhere.
Oh,
where would it be? A statue with his hands sort of reaching out, and
although they could have, if they had another ship, they could do the torpedo scene. I mean, he's not in the torpedo, but it's like more of the symbolism.
They could torpedo his shallow grave. Is that what you're suggesting, Darren?
No, it's like when they shoot him
up
out.
Look, there was no one on that planet. They can blow up that planet. It was the one next door.
They're going to blow up the planet. Well, yeah, so you could do something with Kirk's death.
Oh, I could see. All right, I mean, this is maybe it's not silly, but it's far fetched, and so maybe 10 years later, and show the James T. Kirk Memorial Museum on the side of that planet.
Like etched on the side of the planet, like in large enough letters to read from orbit.
I know, we made this joke earlier that the primitive people of Viridian 4 next door would be like, what are all those things in the sky? As it becomes like a tourist place to see the Kirk Museum. All the school trips.
I came up with one other idea too, and I'll throw this by you guys. It's going to kind of bend the rules of the Nexus, but since the Nexus rules seem to be whatever they want at the time, it seems to be okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is an echo of
exactly.
yourself there?
So it's going to be a Kirk echo, and Guinan is going to be on the bridge of the original Enterprise with him, and she's going to explain to him, whatever
what the Nexus is.
Yeah, this is part of you. You have died somewhere else. I don't know if she has to say that or whatever, but and he lives out his existence, happiness on the bridge of the original ship that he was in love with. So,
I mean, there's a bit of an echo. I hear that when I said it. To how Captain Pike ended in the Prime Universe. For those who don't remember, in the Menagerie, the only two-parter in the original series, Captain Pike, as he captained them, but anyway, whatever he is, in his sort of beep beep wheelchair, ends up going to Talos 4 and kind of gets transformed into his old self and goes, lives with whatever, the blonde girl.
That's true.
But anyway, and so you sort of have a Kirkian ending like that, where sort of a fantasy, maybe of you still see what's her name, the girl on the horse, who we've never heard of before. But maybe, something with the Enterprise as well, or something like that. But yeah, no, I agree with that.
Well,
I think it's a sort of a happy ending. Kind of like River's song, if you're a Doctor Who fan. How we first saw her die. How she sort of got that happy ending. Yes.
Now, see, that was a double meaning. That was a good one, Philip, and I want some props for that. Cause...
Lots of props. 10 points for Daniel. Well, yeah, like you said, Daniel, there's the easy option of Borg, and you could even just have something as simple as like a shadow falling across a planet and you hear the Borg drone sound. But my thought is, what if we did either something like something hinting at the Enterprise E? Like, we don't see it, we still get a reveal of it.
I would like that, but then Daniel will hate it. It's sort of like you see like these crew, working on this new Sovereign class vessel, like the USS Exit, and they just finished painting the last X, and then it's like, we're going to be changing the name.
Darren just wants to see. Wasn't that all of that stuff in Ships of the Line that you made us read You just want to see a
That's fine.
cinematic adaptation.
We can go about that. Yeah.
Oh, Kelsey Grammer just turns to the camera.
We're building
He's
a
like,
new
what's
one.
Kelsey Grammer doing here? Well, I thought it was either something like that or maybe like a scene with all of the crew in like a lounge somewhere, and they're talking about like, well, what are they going to do now? Because their ship is gone. And although we already kind of had the plenty of letters left in the alphabet line, which would have been good there.
That's kind of an after credit scene. Like that would be a decent after credit scene on its own.
Now, if we're going for funny inside Star Trek Universe funny, what we could do is make a reference to the uniforms. The fact that we're going to see a new uniform, and the fact, some like, I don't know who it would be. It has to be like someone random, like Geordi and like Beverly, who...
Okay, it's got to be Geordi. Geordi makes something about the way they look, which is hilarious because he's got the visor, so he sees something different than anyone else sees anyway.
It's like, how many uniforms am I going to have to keep in this closet?
So
yeah, I like that. So it's an end credit, and they're kind of like mulling over what they're going to be doing next, but the conversation turns to the uniforms, and that's what we actually hear them talk about for like 10 seconds.
Oh yeah, it could be sort of like a joke. Like, I mean, again, this is a short scene, but some sort of the way they're talking, it's like they're about to reveal the new Enterprise,
right?
And it's just like a new uniform instead.
So,
like an admiral shows up.
I had one other idea, and this idea could kind of be incorporated into that. So, Star Trek Generations came out in November of '94, and Voyager came out in January of '95. So you could put Janeway in a scene, or the ship, or somehow integrate that. I don't know if they're going to go to the shipyards to look at the, I don't know, whatever. If you're going to do that with the new ship, you could do that as well.
You could have, and again, this would be, again, I would just pick Geordi randomly. Some sort of like mulling about, looking at over ships. You sort of just see maybe models as he's looking over, like, and then again, like, and then you see this different model we've never seen before.
That one's mine.
It's like a smaller starship, and then and Geordi's like, kind of small for an Enterprise. And then someone says, yeah, didn't you hear? That one ship just disappeared, or we haven't heard from that one ship since it left Deep Space Nine. I wonder what happened to it. And then
if Voyager hadn't aired yet, we wouldn't know that yet.
Yeah, it would be a tease. It would be a tease.
Well,
for
it could be a future, time.
What if we did this? What if we do our standard kind of 2 credits? So you have the one that's after like the main characters are listed, and that's the the joke one where they talk about the uniforms, and it's like, haha, because we know it's going to change again. And then at the very, very end, after all the credits, it's like an admiral, someone who at a shipyard, and that's where we're thinking like, oh, it's going to be about the Enterprise E or what's next, but instead it is showing like a schematic that is of the USS Voyager.
Oh, hang on! I just come up with a really good idea. So it's going to be the end credit, right? And
right.
I thought Riker was going to get that one.
We're going to just throw it in there. Like, throw the audience in there deep, and nobody's going to know who anybody is yet, okay? So you're going to see an admiral walking with Janeway talking about personnel for the Voyager. And you're like, at first you're confused. They're Starfleet people, so you can just follow along, but you don't know these people.
And she's in the uniform that we've seen our people transition into, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
So then, she's walking along talking. You don't know who she's with. And then she goes, so what about this Nick Locarno? No, of course.
Nice. Okay, but I like it. I like having but something, maybe not specifically, we don't know, but it's a tie into Voyager, and we show, that ship. Maybe get a couple notes from their fanfare, and then it's maybe 20 seconds at most, and then it's out. So so we've had a fun one with our crew, and then we've had our Voyager toss off, which I like. All right, so let's move on to. We're going to forget Roman numerals, but First Contact. So First Contact, it ends with, Zephyr Cochrane is shaking hands with the Vulcans. We get a great shot of our entire crew back on their ship with a lot of, new uniforms, and Data's got something going on his eye. And, they zip off, and then we see everyone's dancing to the Ooby Dooby on Earth, Lord help us all. And the music swells, and we go into credits. So, are we teasing?
No, we're not teasing.
That's because we just show the characters, everybody having a nap.
Is
that what we would tease? No, of course no.
I'm almost like, what year is this? Because in other words, it's too early. Because of 96, isn't it? So it's way too early to
do it.
Do it. Tease. Well,
do
I want
it.
to tease whatever.
Do it. I know. I'm thinking the same thing.
Tease
Phillip,
what?
go with it.
I can't. Sorry, I can't hear what you're saying.
Tease
Phillip.
Enterprise.
Tease Enterprise.
Retcon. Retcon. That's exactly what I was thinking, Phillip. Tell us your idea.
I don't have one. You go, Daniel. I mean, other than Zephram Cochrane, I don't know who he'd be talking to. Again, I don't know how to make this interesting, but something like, Warp 1, that's pretty awesome. He's like, yeah, I don't know. I've been thinking, and then
one day we'll reach Warp 5.
5.
No, I was thinking at the very end,
or like a young
exactly
Henry Archer.
Yes, Henry Archer. It's exactly what I was thinking. Absolutely.
Oh, like he's introducing the Vulcans to everyone. This is Lily, and this is my assistant. Henry Archer. He has this crazy idea. We can go to Warp 5.
And Henry Archer he's a young sprout at this point, and he's holding a puppy beagle. And
it's a gift for my son.
It's a little on the nose, but I was thinking the exact same thing of tying it all together.
Okay, I like that. So it's we establish his connection with Henry Archer. And we don't have to, be too on the nose, but we know, like, that will make more sense, again, after Enterprise comes out and we see who the captain is.
Yeah, this is obviously something that would never, ever happen, and it makes no sense as far as the actual timeline, but as far as the Star Trek timeline, I think that would be the coolest thing that you could tease.
I mean, you could even have, like, I don't know if the ages would be correct, but you'd have, like, he's having,
or it could even be a grandfather. It just could be somebody, but it's an Archer family member.
Well, no, like, you could have, like, young Henry has, like, his 4-year-old son, and the son's, like, looks at the Vulcans, like, I'm going to be a captain of a ship one day. And, oh, yes, of course, son. You know how kids can be. And Vulcan's like, quite. And,
I'm trying to find out when his date of birth is, because...
it would be on the Mirror Universe Enterprise
First Contact
freeze frame.
Okay, he was born...
First Contact is 2063. When was Archer born?
Archer was born in 2112, so he's obviously not going to be there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Let's see about...
Well, lordy, what was his, like, is that from 1,000,000 years old or, 100 years old?
Yeah,
when
they
he
live
was
a lot
working?
older.
Well, no, remember, Zephyrin was dead before the launch of the Warp 5.
He worked with his dad.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying. I think we can't do Archer, but we can establish Henry Archer.
Yeah.
Henry Archer died in 2124. So I don't know.
That's plenty of time.
It doesn't say when he was born. I don't think we know enough about.
I mean,
him.
it seems like it's one of his but we can definitely connect those dots and show that.
Yeah.
So, all right, moving on to the ever exciting Insurrection. Data is playing.
You say that introduction. I love what the next one you're going to give is.
Data is playing with the boy in the hay. Picard looks at a woman and talks about shore leave, and then we see the Enterprise leave into the Briar Patch, flying by the beautiful planet with all the rings. We got to do something to spice this up because it's snooze
what
fest.
You could do. No. Well, I think there's an easy one. Well, I say easy. There's an obvious one, I guess is what I'm saying. Maybe I'm going to give the concept. I want you all to paint out the picture. The concept is a ring is given.
Okay. So he proposes?
The Rikers.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
How would he do that?
We see the Riker proposal.
Let's combine our two ideas then, Phillip, because I was also thinking of some sort of a Titan tease.
A little early, but
well,
okay.
I mean, he's accepted it by the time Nemesis has started, hasn't he?
What if we don't see the proposal
Yes.
and we see Riker
Yes.
asking someone to be Data to be his best man?
Well, okay. I like what maybe you're saying, Daniel. Okay, and again, I'll let you paint it up. But the concept I could see, like, he gets the offer, and he's like, well, only on one condition. I take my wife, and they're like, wife? I didn't know you were married. And he's like, opens up the ring back and he says,
will be.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay, so it's Riker again with an admiral, and
Yep.
why don't we just put it on Deep Space Nine to make everybody happy?
Well, then you would
Because
have
we've
to.
already got the other two.
You would have to put the Enterprise at Deep Space Nine for that scene somehow. I guess if it's after credits, it could be.
Well,
it could be an
it's-
indiscriminate amount of time later. I guess it's not.
It's just undergoing repairs because it's still got the tar beat out.
That
of
would
it
be
in
cool
the-
to see the Enterprise E docked at Deep Space Nine. That would be pretty.
Yeah.
For a wedding, maybe.
No, yeah. No,
she's already dead at this point. So
Yeah, no, I think I kind of like to do that, even though it doesn't make any sense, but just because we've already done Voyager and Enterprise, and so kind of having these other series in the after credit, kind of, I like that thread. So we show the Enterprise there being, worked on or docking, and we see, so it's an exterior shot of it docked there, and then we cut to Riker. Maybe Riker is buying the ring from Quark.
ugh. Well, he knows Quark, so I don't know if he would do that.
So
That's true.
Here we go. Yeah. So okay. So I'm just thinking of how this logistically would work, and you would have like.
You could have Admiral Ross if you really want to connect it.
Oh, yeah,
maybe
that's a good
Admiral
idea.
Ross is offering him the command, so that we have kind of a.
Okay, so we're just in the war room. Or
So,
the,
yeah,
the
so-
wardroom.
Yeah, because remember,
Yeah.
the Dominion War is still
Yeah.
going on.
So
at
okay.
this
So
point.
we say the scene opens up and it's first officer's log, whatever. The Deep Space Nine is the closest Federation starbase to the Briar Patch or whatever,
Yes, we're just gonna say
and
that.
I think it's actually not that far.
and then then you have
Well, Worf was there,
that's true.
That's true.
so he can't
And
be that far.
You gotta
they
take
have-
Worf back.
they have to
They're
drop
taking
Worf
back.
off. Yeah, Worf off. That's amazing. Yeah,
Oh, that makes so much more sense.
It's basically-
Returning Worf.
it's a shuttle service. Oh, and you know what?
Sovereign class shuttle service.
I would love to, if we're going to do this and we're just going to have fun with it, I would love to see a follow-up scene between Picard and Cisco. And you can make this all one scene, right?
Oh wow!
So you have Admiral
Or do we
Ross-
want to do the split where it's like
Well, you
the,
could
the
you could do two, but you could also have it like just Picard and his first officer, Ross and Cisco, the senior staff, like kind of a meeting.
Just chilling out.
As a senior, whatever. And then Ross is like, come over here, Riker. I have an interesting.
well, and you have Cisco and Worf, because those are the pair, and then
Yeah.
Ross.
Yeah.
So those five.
Well, yeah, because they're talking maybe war plans,
Yeah.
and then there's like Ross is like, well, we have the USS Titan, but she needs a new captain, and then that's where you sort of have him maybe pulling
He pulls
little
it. He literally
aside,
pulls
like-
out the chair.
It's time to sit down.
It's time to sit down.
Hey, what do you
Will.
say, Commander?
He's like, well, I'm gonna be settling down. Ha, heyo.
And then the closing shot could be it's I accept this conditionally, and then he pulls out the ring, and everybody's like, aw, and then
Aw.
and then
Except for Worf looks sad. It's his wife.
too soon.
yeah.
Too soon.
Oh, this is terrible. I know this is terrible, people, but he could say, "I have a ring you."
Oh,
Can use." I know.
No, it's a
terrible.
crown.
It's-
I have a crown you can use. Okay, not that.
I know.
But no, okay, so it's a wardroom. He is offered the Titan. He accepts conditionally, and his condition is that he can bring his wife. And everyone has that double take where they turn and look at him like, what? And then he sees that he's like, it's to the next great adventure or something like that. And then
He's like, "Don't worry, I'll grow the beard back."
okay, so we've gotten this is great. So we've gotten all three of the other series in so far. Now we're on to Nemesis.
We have to say goodbye.
Okay, so we ended with they did their toast to absent friends.
Dun,
Everyone's crying, and then
B4 sings a little
B4
song.
sings a little song, and there's a glimmer of hope that Data is still intact. And then we see the Enterprise
Picard walks down the
being
corridor.
rebuilt at at Earth, being patched up because he crashed it into another ship. Don't do that again, Picard. But
Yeah. So now this is sad because remember, this is what we're doing now. This will be the last shot ever of TNG on the big screen, or even ever.
Right.
Anyway.
So I have
Well, I mean, except for Voyager. But I get it. Troy was in it. But you know what I mean.
do we want to tease with old Spock and start to weave into the Kelvin?
no,
I don't.
no.
I don't.
We don't have to.
I mean,
we haven't really
it's not a
teased
bad idea,
anything
Darren.
of the next movies, but
I have two different ideas. I'm going to say them both, and you guys can tell me which one you think is better. I would say, just to loop it all back around, and the thing is, it would be difficult to do this, but you have another poker game scene. Just to kind of make it all circular. My other idea is because Star Trek should always be about moving forward. You have an opening sequence, essentially. It's not obviously an actual opening sequence, but it would be what would an opening sequence would look like with the Titan, with Riker doing the voiceover, and to moving forward, like the new kind of adventure.
I like that, because if you harken back to TOS, Spock did the opening sequence, end of Star Trek 2, I believe. He did, da-da-da-da. And so now you have Riker kind of giving the, it's almost as if they're doing sort of a pilot or sort of a, spin-off, but yeah, I like that. So you show, because you have, you have the goodbye, which is kind of sweet, but then you sort of just have that, and you have the Titan, and then kind of, you just maybe see the focus on the Titan as it veers off, and then you hear space. The final, and that's Riker giving that, these are the voyages of the Starship Titan, and then maybe it's a little, it's changed just a little bit of word or two just to make it kind of special, and then it kind of zooms off.
Okay, so one idea is,
but then it does it just like TG, where it comes right back and then comes back again, and then comes back again.
What was your second idea, Daniel?
Oh no, my first idea was the
poker idea.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So either the poker game
was
just for like fun, or tossing to the Titan.
Yep.
And I always want there to be two, because I think like the Titan or the Riker intro would be a good after credits, everything's over. I do want a mid credits. Is there someone you feel like did not get a good goodbye? Like, what's Geordi doing with his life? He's still chief engineer of the Enterprise. Beverly's a deleted scene, so I don't know if you want to count that we said goodbye to her or not.
What if we could have a scene with Geordi where he's muttering about, like, he crashed the ship into another ship because he's responsible for fixing it.
Well, the thing is, we know Geordi's future, and we already decided that we don't want to tease the Kelvin connection, so we probably just wouldn't even want to go there, honestly. I mean, unless we can.
Is it Geordi? Because it's Geordi and Spock who build the jellyfish, right?
Yes. What you could do, which would have been innocuous enough at the time, but also still connect them, would say, "Hey, Geordi, there's an opportunity at the Starfleet Corps of Engineers or whatever."
Now, could we have Worf being officially made first officer of the Enterprise?
Just have a little promotion scene or something of him actually being commander.
Being commander. Yeah, because I mean, he's
because like you said, we want to make it a send off to these characters, not connect to other things. So
Worf would be good. The problem is he's already had a promotion scene in the movies, so I would feel like giving it to somebody else.
We go back to the boat.
Yeah.
Was Wesley come back?
Well, Wesley could be on the Titan if we were to show an interior shot.
And we don't want to show anything
that would
with
be awesome.
Romulus being in danger of nebulas or supernovas.
I can see that, Daniel. It's almost like the end of Star Trek 4. So maybe, and I don't know how but in other words, you see Riker getting on the bridge, and you sort of get that group shot, and it's only going to last maybe about 20 seconds. But you just get that bridge shot, and you're like, "Is that Wesley or is that?"
And then boom,
kind of recognize
they go off to warp speed.
Is it Tuvok?
Riker's like, "Let's see what she's got."
Oh no! And so what if this? He sits in the center chair, and then he says, "Engage," because
that would be good. I would like that
because
carrying on the legacy.
Well, yeah, because he totally respects Picard, and of course he's going to take that moniker, for saying go.
I'm trying to think, like, because you'd have, I mean, it'd be cheesy, but I don't know what the Titan would look like, but you have Troy on the side, as the counselor role, and the wife. But I'm trying to think, like, who would be kind of cool to be number one, like Harry Kim or just someone. And then, because he has to be able to say, like, number one to someone, and then, like, engage,
If we
Thomas,
want to make it kind funnier,
Thomas
we could have the beginning of the scene is like he's in his ready room with Troy, and he's like fretting. He's like, I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know. It's really important. I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, just okay, it'll come to me. And then they walks out on the bridge, sits down, and you see the white shot, and then he's like, engage. Like he was debating about if he wanted to say and have that be his line. So it's like what? No, and then like an extra beat, and the con officer's like, what course, sir? He didn't actually give the course. He's just like, oh, sorry, Starbase 5.
Riker does that.
Engaged to where?
He does his little crap-eating grin right before he says it.
Yeah,
engage. That would be good. I like that idea.
Yeah.
And I just like to have like random people on there in different positions. So like, is that? And then they just
exactly. Like you barely see it, and then you're like, dang it, I'm gonna have to wait till the DVD comes out before I can figure out what that was. All right, moving forward into the Kelvin verse, we got 3 more. So in this one, we end with Spock meeting Spock Prime, and he talks about not being his father, which is kind of weird. But we see
am not our father.
Kirk getting promoted, and Pike is relieved, and then we're all on the bridge. It's all shiny, and Lindsay.
Kirk's finally in the gold shirt.
Yeah, finally in the gold shirt, and they punch it and zip out off to new adventures. So what about these 3 we start teasing together?
Oh, God, do we really want to tease into darkness? I mean, like, I could think of some cool way of saying con, but I don't care.
Botany Bay.
So...
It's got to be the Botany Bay. I mean...
Yeah, I could care.
I mean,
it's one of those things.
But here's the thing. If you're going to do it, and you're going to tease the next film...
Do the exact same tease we did for the Botany Bay at the end of Star Trek 1.
Yeah. I mean, what else could you do? You could do the Vengeance, I guess, but nobody's going to know what that is.
No one cares.
Yeah.
I want to do something...
Well, I mean, I
don't know. Something...
Is there anyone in the TOS world that we didn't see in 09 that you would have loved to see a nod to, like a Nurse Chapel or a Yeoman Rand or a
or if we wanted to
Eric's.
What if we get Eric's?
Imres.
What if we get Harry Mudd played by Rainn Wilson? That would be really just my big dream.
Well, you say that because we do get a Mudd reference in.
Oh, that's right.
Darkness.
We do. I forgot about that.
And so,
you could show that scene.
Yeah. Okay. We'll do a Harry Mudd reference, and we'll have Rainn Wilson play him, which will be funny because it'll come full circle.
It would totally bonk with the timeline if only one character was ever played by the same person. Yeah.
That's true. Right. I'm trying to think.
What else?
It's sort of like Q and James Bond. I know Q vote, but like where you have the same character or the same actor playing the same part, and I don't know. Again, I don't know if the argument is James Bond is different universes or the same person or whatever.
But then
anyway.
Q's the same
cool
person. Q ages, but James
Star
doesn't.
Trek, Q and M, both Q and M. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it'd be interesting if there was a character that played it in the various Prime and Kelvin, JJ, whatever.
You could tease Carol Marcus somehow.
Yeah, except they didn't use her.
I know.
I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad idea, Daniel. I
don't know. I don't know what I would want to do.
There's not a payoff,
for
unfortunately.
09. I really don't. There's not a lot.
I mean, there's things that they do in the credits where they show little snippets of the adventures that it's going on, like the green hand grabbing it and like the world eater. Like we could do more of a scene like that where it's showing that they're going to run into some of the same adventures that the Prime crew did.
Yeah, how about, how, and maybe this is what you just said, Darren, I apologize, but like, where TOS had the closing credits with the stills? Just do it with the new JJ people. So, like, take the exact same stills, but, like, the Orion girl, but she's, like, all modern and...
Yeah, or you could do...
Exactly, that would be cool.
You could do, like, famous scenes from TOS... So like you
like Nomad is there with them on the bridge,
or you would see Spock with a goatee in one of the stills.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I like it. Spock with a goatee, and then there's like a half black, half white man in engineering, or something like that. So we have like 5 or 6 different shots.
Because I think what you could do, and this would be a tease, non-tease, is you show all these famous scenes of the famous episodes, and you're like, wait a minute, I wonder why they didn't do one with Khan. That that would have been an obvious one. I wonder why they didn't show that. And then,
they could do
I like
one with
that. That's actually really fun.
with like Spock holding Kirk back, for Edith Keeler and stuff like that.
Yo, God, that would be cool.
Or them, them jumping through the Guardian of Forever.
That would be really cool too. Yeah, oh man, and that would make it.
But again, remember, it's all screenshots, so it's really simple to.
So
make.
you only get a sense of what happened, and it's like it kind of plays with this idea that the rebooted universe is still kind of the same, but a little bit different.
It's
like you can always
paralleled,
put,
yeah.
You can put like a little twist on it every time. Like maybe Kirk has the goatee or something or Keenser or something. I don't know how you'd want to do it, but that's a cool idea.
Spock's holding Keenser back from Edith Keeler.
From Edith Keeler, he's the one.
Okay, I like that.
I just think like for people, and I'm saying maybe I'm including me when I say this, who were resistant to this, let's go to TOS again. But then you're sort of seeing like, oh, this is what it would look like modern update. And that's kind of cool because they're nodding to the canon. Right. We appreciate what's come before. But it also tips that, hey, just to let you know, we're not going to do the same stories that have been done before. I mean, we are.
Yeah,
we are.
I like having the similar pictures, but not the exact same.
Yeah, so it's like, they did all the things that you did, but we're going to have a new story the next time. Or they're not. It's not going to be a new story at all. But anyway,
so there'll be that screenshot from Shore Leave, but instead of the fluffy Easter bunny, it's going to be Frank from Donnie Darko. And so it's a little bit darker than what it was before.
I can see like the McCoy with the two Vegas girls around him.
Oh, the Horta! You could do something cool with the Horta.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, good with Spock doing the JJ
like
Spock
No Kill Eye could be. It has to be a lot of fun. You could have a lot of fun with
Kill Eye.
And it doesn't because
Horta,
they're just like the little pictures. They don't have to be. There could be like 20 of them, and
you can do a ton of CG because again, it's just a picture,
just an image.
It doesn't have to. Yeah,
you could do there's a bunch of ways to do it. Like you could do the credits over these pictures as they
or have them like sliding across,
or
like a bunch of
exactly a left flush, right flush, with the credits. So that way you can kind of appreciate the picture as it scrolls, I guess up. But yeah,
that's awesome. I don't know how we came to that. Like we coalesced on that idea real quick, but that's a cool idea.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I guess we got to do Into Darkness.
Okay, Into Darkness ends with Kirk is okay because of Treble Superblood, and Khan is now back in his peaceful slumber.
It's the memorial, actually, I guess, is the ending with the flag and the Kirk speech and the jets fly overhead, and it's like a year later, I think. Am I making that up?
I don't remember that.
Later.
But yeah. And then we see Carol Marcus on the bridge talking to kirk. There's not a lot in the end of Into Darkness.
Well, sense of relief that it's over.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So how are we teasing? What are we doing?
How are we stopping them? Because the audience may have left already.
We could have a nod towards City Alpha 5, like that they're going to put him on that planet.
Oh, that's a great idea. Like, what if they do still put him on City Alpha?
Right. It's just not because remember this is their Space Seed episode. Basically, is this movie?
So what if
they're not going to see him again?
Yeah, what if they have like a cold storage facility on Ceti Alpha, and and then you just show them loading all those frozen people,
right?
And then you see like something explode or something like that. That's actually a really cool idea. I like that idea.
Yeah, I like that. Like a station on the surface. It's not the Botany Bay. It's the station, and that's where they're loading all the cold storage.
Yeah. Yeah, and then of course they're never going to do anything with it, but it's just the idea that
it shows that things still move in parallel.
Yeah, it's still parallel,
which is kind of our theme of these end credits from the last time too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Though I don't know, I do like. I mean, this is not original, and I don't know if y'all said it or a fan said it or whatever. Maybe when they're putting it in cold storage, it zooms to another pod, and then you see that one actually says Khan.
I've heard someone say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like it looks like Ricardo Montalban, like it's like another Khan.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get.
I mean, the fact that they recast Kirk and everybody and they look different, like we're kind of past that.
Well, the fact that he's really, really white, but anyway, in English. But yes, no, I get it. But it kind of saves the, if you're feeling frustrated about the movie, it is a way to be like, double bluff. it really wasn't. And so any problems you may have had, this is how.
Yeah, but that almost kind of resets buttons the whole movie, and you're like, oh, why did I even watch this? Of course, you're like thinking that anyway. So
yeah. I'm no you know, I don't love Into Darkness, but I always hated that idea because it just kind of takes away from it. So.
You never want to.
I mean, it could be
say that this movie didn't happen because that devalues.
Well,
the
no, it's not
who
saying it
made
didn't happen. You're just saying the guy was lying. You know about who he was.
No, that's true. All right, but I like the cold storage on City Alpha 5.
City Alpha.
Yeah.
I mean, we're pretty biased about City Alpha.
Whatever do you mean, Philip?
All right, so Star Trek Beyond, we have Spock looking at the photo of the original crew. Everyone's tearing up. Then we have the party where they're toasting Kirk.
The
lounge party, and then we see
I don't remember how it
the
is.
Enterprise.
I've only seen it once.
The Enterprise A being built in
Enterprise
fast,
A, of course.
in super fast speed.
Over
Not
top
in Idaho, which is strange, but they're
Over
actually
top
building
of
in
a
space
Beastie
this
Boys
time.
track, I think, is how it's being built. So
Something, yeah. But they even have the same hexagon mirrors and windows and stuff. But so we basically see it built and launched in super fast motion. So do we want to show?
This is a toughie.
Yeah,
because we don't know. Obviously, this is if it is or not. No one here can say. But theoretically, this could be the last Kelvin movie. So I don't know.
Do we want to tease Discovery?
No, because it's still going backwards, and I don't like that.
Yeah. And it's also, and I don't mean to sound this negative, I don't feel like you can do like a Star Trek 6, like, oh, it's their signatures, because everyone would be like, I don't have that close of a connection with them.
I was thinking that...
that Beyond was good.
I was thinking that, or teasing some event, like, I mean, you could do Praxis or something like that.
You know what you could do? And again, it's heresy, but let's just go there. Tease a Kelvin Next Gen.
Okay, so what you could do, and it was kind of bringing it full circle from our conversation today...
Even though we just showed the A, okay.
Well, yeah, but
it's
there's plenty of
accelerated
letters.
timeline. So how about there is some sort of energy ribbon in space? I knew you were gonna like that.
Daniel, you know what? I usually fight you on this, but let's go ahead and do it. Let's embrace your
Borg?
idea. And
yes, the Borg. Yes.
And it's some sort of an outpost or starbase. Maybe you show the Enterprise A, flying by
the new Enterprise.
And then they're like, yeah, and they're like, they're like, sir, we're detecting some very odd, it's some sort of vessel. What's it look like? I don't know. It's just a cube.
Now, if you really want to kind of, if you really want to tease it.
Dun dun dun, and that is to be continued. Dun dun dun. Dun dun dun.
If you really want to tease a next gen connection to, I mean, this is a layer on top that we can totally remove afterwards because it doesn't make any sense at all when I'm going to say this. But just picture this now.
Well, this is Beyond. We're embracing.
We don't
concept.
have to explain it until the next movie, anyways. So that gives us plenty of time to write this in. You have the Enterprise encountering the Borg, and then over the loudspeaker. This is Locutus of Borg. And then there you go. You cut to black.
You're right. That doesn't make any sense.
But it does in my fan fiction, so I don't even want to hear about it.
I'm thinking 3-dimensionally. That's the problem.
The problem is, okay, so I really like these silly concepts and these fun kind of throwbacks and stuff. The issue is, what Phillip mentioned, is this is going to be the last one. And you kind of don't want to tease, like, a conflict that you're never going to see,
That's true.
So
it
I
needs
don't know.
to ease out, not like ramp up.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know how you would do that.
I mean, unless you, I don't know, because we sort of saw, and again, I'm having trouble remembering the exact ending. I think it was like the lounge, and then you said the rebuilding of the Enterprise.
Yeah, the rebuilding's like literally the last thing we see, and then it zips off into space.
Yeah, it's not rebuilding; it's building. Yeah. But yeah. Because I was trying to think of what you again. Okay, this is my first thought. It's probably dumb, but I'll go with it. You see them on the bridge, so you get the rebuilding, and then at the end credits, you have them on the bridge, and they're in the TMP but Kelvin version, the motion picture uniforms, and then you maybe
We could
have them,
probably skip over that. Just go right to Monster Maroons. I think.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could, but
Unless you want to do some sort of
I mean, they would look
unless you
better.
want to do some sort of a V'ger teaser, which actually might not be a bad idea because if we're getting onto the A,
Right.
you could do. There is
Because the A is basically in place of the refit, quote
right.
unquote.
Well, they're the same ship,
Yeah.
and anybody can fight me on that. Fight me on that. It's the same damn ship.
Does it have the captain's steering wheel in the lounge?
It doesn't. Yeah. So yeah, you could do like there's a priority alert from Starfleet, and then there's a 1 AU cloud headed this direction or whatever you wanted, however you want to tease it. You could do a. You could do.
I kind of like that. That'd be nice.
Even simpler, you could have Decker and Ilea there.
Yeah, and maybe even Zahn. I don't know. Go crazy.
But something that's essentially teasing V'ger.
Yeah. That would be cool.
But you just maybe sort of transitions, and since it's maybe the last one, you're sort of saying tipping the hat and like,
Right.
yeah, they're gonna do the whole movie universe.
Right, exactly.
In the comics, of course, it'll be in the comics, but.
All right.
See you in the funny papers.
All right. Well, that was fun. I liked how we gave a lot of nods to the television shows in the next gen ones, like Voyager and Enterprise and Deep Space Nine, bending it a little bit at times, but I think it'll put those characters and some of those scenes on the big screen, which, hey, if they're not even getting a movie, at least they can get as an after credit scene. So, Philip, what are we talking about next week?
Well, Darren, speaking of tying in things together, of course, September 2017 marks the 30th anniversary of our favorite Star Trek series, Star Trek The Next Generation. And so what better way to celebrate that than in true fashion with a game show with 2 very special guests. So we hope everyone will join us as Daniel and Darren maybe see some crossovers they've met before and see if they can defeat this pair in Star Trek The Next Generation 30th anniversary game show.
I'm going to start my rewatch right now.
We have never won.
Just power binge. But it's next gen. I mean, we can get that one, Daniel.
Well, we'll see. You're more optimistic than I am.
Put your credits down now. Bidding starts at 5 Quatlus. Well, Philip, if someone wanted to pester you to find out who those special 2 guests were, where would they find you online?
They can find me on Twitter, where my handle is @NCPublicServant. That's NC for no continuity.
And Daniel, if someone wanted to talk to you about your Enterprise A V'ger fanfic, where would they find you?
They could find me on Twitter @OneUpDan. That's the number 1, not the word.
Now, the way you phrase that, like, is the Enterprise A in a ship with Voyager or slash
V'ger? Yeah.
V'ger.
Okay, that's weird.
And if someone wanted to find me to talk science fiction, they can find me on Twitter at username Dr. Sci-Fi, DRSCIFI. I'm Darren Moser.
I'm Phillip Gilfus.
I'm Daniel Prue.
Stranded here on City Alpha 3.
Come!